I have a book, M.K. Gandhi autobiography, or the story of my experiment with truths. Truth, not truths. This book, first I talk about this book. This book is translated by Mahadev Desai. Mahadev Desai. This book is basically about Gandhi. Translator preface. Let's read translator preface. The first edition of Gandhiji's autobiography was published in two volumes. Volume 1, 1927, and Volume 2, 1929. The original in Gujarati, which was priced at rupees 1, has run through 5 editions, nearly 50,000 copies have been sold. The price of an English translation only issue in the library edition was prohibited for our Indian readers, and a cheap edition has long been needed. It is now being issued in one volume. The translation as it appears serially in a young India, had it may be noted that the benefit of Gandhiji's revision, it has now undergo careful revision, and from the point of view of language, it has had the benefit of careful revision by the revered friend, who among many other things. So, who Mahadev Desai is, we can say that Mahadev Desai is one of friend for Gandhi ji. He made it condition that his name should on no account be given. I accept the condition. It is needless to say, it is heightened my sense of a gratitude to him. Chapter 19 and chapter 53, I think, returns in Roman, of a part 5 was translated by a friend and colleague, Pyare Lal. During my absence in Bardoli at the time of a Bardoli agrarian inquiry by the Broomfield Committee in 1928 to 29. Okay, this I don't understand. Let's move forward. Introduction of this book is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages, 4.5 pages by Gandhi. Let's read it. The introduction of experiment. The story of my experiments with truth. The introduction. 4 or 5 years ago, at the instance of some of my nearest co-workers, I agreed to write an autobiography. I made the start, but securely had I turned over the first sheet when riot broke out in Bombay, and the work remained at standstill. Then followed a series of events which culminated in my imprisonment, in imprisonment at Yeravata. Jaramat's SJT, I don't know what it means, but Jairamada, who was one of my fellow prisoners there, asked me to put everything else on one side and finish writing the autobiography. I replied that I had already framed a program of a study for myself and that I could not think of doing anything else until this course was complete. I should indeed have finished the autobiography had I gone through my full term of imprisonment at Yerawat, for there was still a year left to complete the task. When I was discharged, Swami Anand has now repeated the proposal and I have finished the history of Satyagraha in South Africa. I am tempted to undertake the autobiography for Navajivan. The Swami wanted me to write it separately for publication as a book, but I have no spare time. I could only write a chapter week by week. Something has to be written for a Navjivan every week. Why should it not be autobiography? It's a question. The Swami agreed to the proposal, and here am I hard at work. So, how this autobiography created through a newspaper, week by week, chapter by chapter. But God fearing friend had his doubts, which he shared with me on my day of silence. What has set you on this adventure? He asked. Writing an autobiography is a practice peculiar to the West. I know of nobody in East having written one except among those who have come under Western influence. And what will you write? Supposing you reject tomorrow the things you had as a principle today, or supposing you revise in the future your plan of today, is it not likely that men who spear their conduct on the authority of your word, spoken or written, may be misled? Don't you think it would be better not to write anything like an autobiography? At any rate, just yet. So, the next paragraph, it is the last paragraph of first page of an introduction. It's very short, but I think it is very important. What they are discussing is a problem of everyone, that we don't share everything about ourselves to anyone. Why? Because we think, or we at least we have a thought in our mind that people will judge us through our decisions in future by judging the words we say. Suppose in some sabha or rally, some neta tells about or talk about some principles, some higher order things which people should adapt according to them. But in his personal conduct or in a political environment, maybe your decisions when you making them are not accounted with everything, or not, it is not possible to be accounted, because there is, when we say it is idealism and when we do, it's a politics. So this is the discussion. So what Gandhi decide, obviously we, as if we have this book, so what Gandhi decides, or Gandhi thinks, we just realize that by just presence of this book. Don't think how people judge you in future. This is the lesson. Your actions must be well observed, well studied, and well behaved also. Let's see next paragraph on the next one. This argument had some effect on me, but it is not my purpose to attempt a real autobiography. I simply want to tell the story of my numerous experiments with truths. And as my life consists of nothing but those experiments, it is true that the story will take the shape of an autobiography. But I shall not mind if every page of it speaks only my experiments. I believe, or at any rate flatter myself with the belief, that I connected account of all these experiments will not be without benefit to the reader. The experiment in the political field are now known not only to India, but to a certain extent to civilized world. For me, they have not much value, and the title of Mahatma that they have won for me has therefore even less. Often the title has deeply pointed to me, and there is not a moment I can recall when it may be said to have trickled me. But I should certainly like to narrate my experiment in the spiritual field, which are known only to myself, and from which I have driven such power as I possess for working in the political field. If the experiments are really spiritual, then there can be no room for self praise. They can only add to my humility. The more I reflect, look back on past, the more vividly do I feel my limitations. So, the interesting thing about this paragraph, this tells the perspective of Gandhi about this autobiography. He doesn't write this as a story of his life, how, where he's born, when he's born, who his father. He writes this with what he centered during those writing is his daily experiments. What experiments, meetings, when you meet with people, you have some experience, and when you think what his response when I see this, or basically you are talking to them and also observing the conversation, then it becomes an experiment. Before doing anything, the person think who's doing experiment, what would happens if I say this? What then the next step would be, can it be moderated? Can it be said in a specific way so it produces more effect, not just to humiliate someone who is saying to see the greater purpose of the conversation of your contents. So if you focus on this, you touches the spiritual plane which presents with the living beings, also in humans. Observation or experiment, these are the words. It comes from science. It simply means just to see what is happening. Why? It helps you to gain knowledge, which we call science. And the process is called experiment. Step by step process of observation. Science take some more steps after observation. It like to apply in a field where numbers work. So they mold the results of observation to quantify or to qualitative explanation or a quantitative explanation, or release a research paper of a theory which is derived from those facts accumulated after the observations and experiments. In case of our daily conduct, we can't do the beyond step of observation. The next step, just to do or say or think. But as you involve, also practically involve in the conversation and the actions emerge from those conversations. So it is not possible to just look those events as detached experiments. You also involve, you become, you feel emotions, you feel, you have to face. So in our daily conducts, in our personal, professional times, I don't say profession and personal life, because there is no two lives, there is only one life. You are an integral whole, so there is no anything which divides the part of yours, which I can objectively say that it is your personal part, your personal life, and the rest is professional. Life is an integral happens is you spend your time 24 hours every day doing different things, saying different things, dreaming different things, looking for something. That's how human eating, talking, anything which you do during your time. When someone comes to you for your assistance, because you are a living being, so you can assist anyone under your capacity. When he asks something, which also pay you money, you call those conducts, meetings, or part professional. And when such exchange is not happening, you are just doing things. You may say it is your personal. There is no personal professional thing. Professionalism comes. Uh, what professionalism means, what you have to understand for this, what manners means, what behaves means, how people should behave, why people want certain type of behavior from others. If you are a owner of a hotel, you going to your office, when you enter in the hotel, sir, salam, good morning, and everyone must greet you. It depends nature by nature, but commonly it is seen that person who is accepting this greeting never greets first. Why? Because it's a certain kind of behavior. These things we experience in our daily life with peoples, not every time with peoples, but also when you are sitting alone and thinking about peoples and their actions. The people's most talked or the people who are trending nowadays, which are they are observed by everyone. So judging them is very simple, but we don't understand the personal aspect of those people. So don't say anything bad to anyone because you can't understand, you don't understand what are the personal aspect. You can say, I know him, he's my friend, I know him deeply, but you can't say. So these are the common things which happens when people interacts at any level. So the discussion of Gandhi with I forget these discussions which how he perceive or his perception towards his daily or a weekly newspaper writing is how he wants to tell autobiography, not as an autobiography, but what his experiences and those experiences he took as an experiments means he also observed as a third person in himself, which always true for anyone who is spiritually aligned, because spiritually aligned means you have a voice of a third voice which when you involve in anything, this voice is also observing and silently and tells you at an appropriate time something which moderate or modify or channel your emotions. Okay, the next paragraph. What I want to achieve, what I have been starving and pining to achieve these thirsty years is a self realization. Wow, wow is not there. I see. To see God face to face to attain moksha. What I want to, I reading this again. What I want to achieve, what I have been striving and pining to achieve these 30 years is self realization. To see God face to face to attain moksha. I live and move and have my beings in pursuit of this goal. All that I do by way of speaking and writing, and all my ventures in the political field are directed to this same end. But as I have all along believed that what is possible for one is possible for all experiments have not been conducted in the closed but in the open. And I do not think that this fact detracts from their spiritual value. There are many things which I know only to oneself and one's maker. These are clearly incommunicable. The experiment I am about to relate are not such, but they are spiritual, or rather moral. For the essence of religion is morality. This is also a small paragraph of introduction. Maybe I think it 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a fourth paragraph, and this paragraph tells you the spiritual lining of Gandhi. First three lines he talks about moksha, his self-realization. What this self-realization means that you have, if you have an answer of this question, what is the purpose of life? If you know the answer and you also understand the answer, just suppose you ask someone, what is the purpose of my life, to someone, some other people around you. Obviously, you can ask only the people around you. You can't ask the people who are not around you. So, what is the purpose of my life? What they tell you is an answer. maybe it's a valid answer, not, but not just for you. It's a valid answer for so many people. So the understanding of the answer when when answer comes from others people, you can't understand them by just listening. The understanding is very deep rooted experience. It's not comes from just reading or remembering. It's basically it's a realization. Realization, it's a very different kind of realization, but there is a very common realization with common. I think everyone of us once or more than once experiences. You engage with something which you don't understand, and you hardly work towards that. Maybe sometimes depressed, discouraged, but maybe you had completed the task and throw the things away. But because you are physically, emotionally, and psychologically involved with this that engagement or a project, you had some memory in your mind. With time, when you engage in some different things and you understand to something in your new experiments, and you also recognize that you understanding this because you had done something in the previous experience which given you some knowledge or some information or some understanding which helps you to understand this different thing. And when this happens, you don't understand this one thing but subsequent so many things. It's called realization. When it's commonly happen, अच्छा ये है क्या? तो ये commonly होता रहता है सबके साथ. This commonly happens to everyone. What this self-realization? It's a different kind of realization. It's a realization of the answer. What is the purpose of life? Someone who self-realized know what he is doing. Not most of us don't know what we are doing. Okay. I am saying this because you know you may know. So he's self-realized. It doesn't matter other people, what other people think. He self-realized to see God. When you realize to see God, you would see them or Him or I don't know, face to face to attain moksha. Moksha. What moksha means? Why I am here? There may be two possible reasons. I have some work here, or I just completed the work and I'm just about to go, about to leave. possibility is I'm just coming here to do something. Okay? Suppose you are sitting somewhere and thinking, why okay, why I you sometimes simply because you are in the bus because you are going from place to place B, place A to some place B. Okay. But why are you going from place A to place B? Because you can explain you have some work at place B. Maybe place A is your home. So you have some work, maybe it's your school, and you are going from your home to the school in a bus. So why are you in the bus? Because you have a purpose to go. Okay, I think I had said much. I like this paragraph. What his perspective is. If it is, if it is uh, translated well, or it's actually Gandhi had this, or even close to this, maybe some expression of translator, maybe some expression of translator, maybe there in every chapter or a paragraph, but we cannot understand if we think there is so many expressions of translator. We have to think that translator done his job perfectly to translate his book. Okay, so I say this, I like this paragraph because it tells you the spiritual prospect of Gandhi, which anyone can experience. He is in the political field, so his interaction with the political people and the people who are close to him. So his actions are political action or the action of a mass. Only those matter of religion that can be comprehended as much as by children as by older people will be included in this story. If I can narrate them in a dispassionate and humble spirit, many other experiments will find in them provision for their onward march. Far be it from me to claim any degree of perfection for these experiments. I claim for them nothing more than does a scientist who talk. He conduct his experiment with the outermost accuracy, forethought the minuteness, never claim any finality about his conclusion, but keeps an open mind regarding them. I have gone through deep self introspection, searched myself through, searched myself, thought and thought, through and through, and examined and analyzed every psychological situation. Yet I am far from claiming any finality or infallibility about my consciousness. One claim I do indeed may, and it is this. For me, they appear to be absolutely correct and seems for the time being to final. For if they were not, I should base no action on them. But at every step, I have carried out the process, acceptance or rejection, acted accordingly. And so long as many acts satisfy my reason and my heart, I must firmly adhere to my original conclusions. What this paragraph tells you, uh, that he's telling, that any conclusions which you draw by reading this text are not final. Actually, there is a two things. What this tells you, this book tells you, and the other what you understand by reading this. Maybe he tells you A and your understanding is B. Because the understanding is based upon your past experiences. I just taught this before, that how our projects, next assignment affected by our previous projects and our assignment. There is a very good series I just watched based on the story of Salim Javed. Maybe you know, maybe you not, that Salim Javed, who was Salim Javed. Salim sir is he is what he is who created Sholay. And Javed sir and Salim sir both created Sholay and so many people. But it's very difficult to explain, but their journey. In this series, there are stories of these two extraordinary people who created fiction affected by what they see around them, with their experience, their personal experiences, what they saw in society at that time, what they feel, their accumulated experience of life, all accumulated experience of life, which make a certain kind of personality, certain kind of mind. Everyone of us is a certain kind. It's made from the same material. Everything, stuff is same, but how this stuff molds during these experiences is conditioned by the environment around us. So, if you understand what I mean when I say all of your actions, all of, are always certainly affected by what you've done before. That's a law of karma. Okay, it's a understanding what law of karma means. So when you encounter the term moksha, you have to understand these laws. These are spiritual laws. These laws does not exist because it's written somewhere. You maybe hear that Vedas does not exist. Uh, Vedas existed before they written down. Before, when the technology of writing down invented, when ink invented, and the system which propel the ink in a right manner to a paper so it absorb exactly so paper don't get wet. There is a very subtle technology which we don't realize because we easily get pens of 5 rupees. Because, but at that time, since the technology is evolving, it's a tool, it's a physical, not a software which you form, break, and take some code of various and just change what you want to change and put them. These are not the memory objects. Okay, memory objects are a digital memory objects. Okay. Um, okay. So just leave this here in our next reading. Almost half of, not half, we have reached one, two, 2.5. Just one page remains. So we would record the next session.